If you want to distract from the war crimes you're committing, do some identity politics. That seems to be the current social media strategy of the State of Israel. Their official Twitter account has posted this: the first ever pride flag raised in Gaza. Yoav Atzmoni, who is a member of the LGBTQ plus community, wanted to send a message of hope to the people of Gaza living under Hamas brutality. His intention was to raise the first pride flag in Gaza as a call for peace and freedom. Now let's take a closer look at those images. So this message of hope to Gazans is being delivered in front of complete carnage, right? So he's holding up a rainbow flag. It says, "In the name of love." And in the background are loads and loads of completely destroyed houses, flattened. Now, I'm sure any gay Gazans killed or injured in air raids will feel seen that an Israeli soldier has raised the rainbow flag over their wrecked communities. Now, the other photo shared shows an Israeli flag with rainbow stripes in front of a tank. Now, this one seems even more ambiguous, right? Is the idea that they are freeing gay Palestinians from Hamas, or are they laying the ground for gay Israelis to move in once the Gazans have been kicked out? Obviously, that flag is being waved in territory which isn't Israeli, right? They are going into Gaza. It's completely gross. And the grotesque deployment of arguments like this are not new, they're not unique. Also this weekend, Israeli government spokesperson Eilon Levy tweeted this. This is really grotesque. This image of the 500,000 or so marchers in London. And then he says, "I don't think London has ever seen such a large demonstration of rape apologists before." Now, of course, that is an absolutely disgusting smear of 500,000 protesters marching for peace. But it also feeds into the narrative Israel wants to project. It is Israel that protects women against the Gazan Palestinian barbarians. So while they bomb thousands of kids, it is Israel who stands for LGBT people, and it is Israel who stands for women. The LGBT Gazans and women they're killing, that's mere collateral for their very just and noble end. Of course, to try to defend the indefensible, Israel will also play the race card. Marc Lamont challenged the former Israeli ambassador to the US on his claims that Hamas used hospitals as bases. This is what happened next.
It's been proven with certainty that the headquarters of Hamas is under the Al-Shifa hospital in Gaza City. Now, you know what happened a couple of days ago?
Proven by
Hamas had a big...
hold on.
Mark, are you going to let me finish?
I can't allow you to... I cannot allow you to say 15 things that are unfactual and not be challenged on them. I'm happy to let you talk, but I'm going to ask clarifying questions.
You're going to tell me what's factual? Mark,
yes.
I spent 5 years of my life studying this, living it. When was the last time you were in Gaza, Mark? When was the last time you were in Gaza?
18 months ago. When was the last time you were in Gaza? When was the last time you were in Gaza?
A few years ago.
Okay, so you said Al-Shifa Hospital has been proven Hamas headquarters. What independent reference, what source, what investigation has proven that? Who has proven that it's an Al-Shifa hospital since it's been a proven fact? Who proved it?
So now we're going to get into this basic Holocaust denying idea that evidence that Israel has shown is not valid.
We are bombing cities, towns, houses, civilian buildings. We're killing 4,000 kids and rising. We're killing 10,000 people and rising, 11,000 people and rising to protect LGBT Gazans, or the LGBT Gazans who survived this bombardment and siege. We are opposing demonstrations of solidarity with Palestinian people because that is tantamount to rape apology, and we don't have to provide evidence for the claims we make to justify hospitals, because to demand that evidence is tantamount to Holocaust denial. Now, Ash, I mean, I do think the common thread here is sort of feeding into a very sort of contemporary style identity politics argument where you can sort of shut down debate by saying it's racist to ask a question. You can say we're doing some really evil things to benefit the culture, to benefit certain minorities. And, well, obviously women aren't minorities, but LGBT people are. And, I do think it's something that Israel have become rather practiced in, and we are seeing quite a lot of it over the past 4 weeks or so.
Well, I think that some of it is relatively new. So, very pleased to see Israel there talking about the LGBT plus community, very right on and woke of them. But it's also, I think, a lot older. So if you cast your mind back to the invasions of Afghanistan and Iraq, there was propaganda being pumped out, which was suggesting that this would somehow be to the benefit of women in both those countries who are under the thumb of Islamic oppression. And I remember there was one particular piece of propaganda which was put out by the US Air Force, and it was, hey, Taliban, look at the sky. Your women can't drive, but ours can fly. And so this idea of saying, well, if you believe in social progress, so if you believe in civil rights on the basis of race, or for gay people or rights for women, you have to be okay with bombing entire civilian populations indiscriminately because ultimately it's for their own good. You're wiping out a backwards and regressive culture. So I think that the flying the rainbow flag and saying in the name of love, that's something which does have a kind of older history to it and is very much drawn from the sort of liberal interventionism playbook of the early 2000s. But I think that the use of the smear Holocaust denying, it's Holocaust denying to ask for evidence that Hamas is headquartered in Al-Shifa hospital from a source which isn't just the Israeli government or armed forces. I think that comes down to the way in which Israel has legitimized itself from its very beginning. Basically, you're saying that this particular country gets to displace, gets to kill, gets to dispossess a whole people who are already living there because it comes cloaked with the moral authority and the legitimacy of a recognized victim status. And of course, the reason why that's so powerful is that there's truth in that. The Holocaust was a crime against humanity. It was an attempt, and a very nearly successful attempt, to exterminate the Jewish populations of Europe. That is a real atrocity. And then the atrocities which were carried out following the Holocaust in the name of the State of Israel, whether it's something like the Deir Yassin massacre, whether it's the Nakba, the Naksa, the ongoing dispossession of people in the West Bank, the cyclical and repetitive bombardments of Gaza, which have now culminated in this mass slaughter of over 10,000 people and 4,000 children. Well, it all goes back to that original recognition of victim status. You know, the advocates of Israel say, well, this is what it means to truly recognize the victim status of Jewish people. You have to be okay with what the Israeli state is doing. And that's wrong. That's morally wrong. It's politically wrong. It's factually wrong. And I think that for Jewish people who are intensely critical of what the Israeli state does, I think it can be emotionally very difficult. You're seeing your own identity weaponized to deny the humanity of others. For lots of Jewish people who've been taught about the history of the pogroms, the histories of anti-Jewish persecution, I think that there's a kind of sickening, twisted logic to it, which people find quite difficult. So yes, I think that there's a kind of new identity politics twist on all these things, but these roots go a lot deeper.